hour to kill. I'm gonna get turned by Dad. Dog doesn't want to leave. You want to leave? You want to go for a walk? You want to do anything with your life? No. So I figure we chat about the week that was. There isn't too much to talk about. Only the ZDT's thing is coming up, which is interesting. He says I'm on the witness list, which I don't think is the case. But apparently that's what he says. So it's always a way for people to get in the chat. It's one of the rare times you'll actually see my face on a live. Howdy, Wina. How you doing? Style, good to have you. I'm adjusting this real quick. All right, we got some people in the chat that I'm happy to have in the chat. This is a good crew so far. Hey, Gen X, Biatch, nice to have you. Gotta love Gen X. Sorry, guys. There we go. Hopefully you can see me better. Hello, Dodge's face. Hello. This is the first time in a very long time, probably the only time we're going to see my face on a live, but Doug doesn't want to do that much, so. Great, enjoying the beautiful NorCal weather. Cool. I was just listening to something at NPR, call me NPR, about the northern area of California, how screwed they are with all the cuts. Hey, Pineapple Pizza, nice to have you. Deborah, good to have you. All right, we got a good crew. Hey, Gentle Leon, nice to have you. So here, this just be an open chat. If anybody wants to ask me anything, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. What cuts? What cuts? What are you saying? Cuts? Cuts what? Cutsies? Cutsies for president. Pudajero, hello. Gentle Leon saying hi to Pooh. I guess Pooh's a well-known figure. I guess the one thing that I'm not going to opine about it that much, but I think the one thing that would be interesting to get a rundown is, if all people are watching the DOA stuff, is who is Summer? Like, what was that? Like, Summer versus Saul Goodman. Why do you just start screaming at her and calling her a bitch? And what is her deal? I'm not going to make a video because I have no idea. People ask who is in the right, who is in the right. I have no idea who Summer is. But that was a fascinating piece of video, I will say. It was entertaining. Appreciate your updates. Thank you, Gen X. Yeah, I guess another good reason to have the live is just to thank you guys for being supportive. And you do, for a moment, for 12 hours, got the train in the background. Apologies. For 12 hours, you feel kind of bummed out, and because it's a mix, right? It's like DOA detractors, and then, Reddit does their thing, and Reddit hates everybody, so I'm not going to take any of that personal. And of course, it's funny, like when the Scientology protest thing got shut down, is almost like, what's the point? If you're not going to make it on the Reddit tabloid, then what's the point? And they don't like that I call myself a journalist. I'm not very professional. Listen, man, to me, a journalist could work for the National Enquirer. A journalist could be a gossip journalist. Your rigidity of what a journalist is not the actual reality of what a journalist is. A journalist could say incorrect things. A journalist could lie. A journalist could imply. A journalist could create rumors. You might be a bad journalist, but you're still a journalist, right? The person who works at the National Enquirer or TMZ is literally every bit of a journalist as David Muir is, quite frankly. One might be better than the other, although one might not if you think about, the mainstream media and stuff. So, yeah, no, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for being supportive. It was nice to see because, you some stuff you do get wrong and you feel like you should improve on, but some of the stuff is just criticism out of thin air that you don't take into account. So you really have to sift through what can you do better, what can you not do. The only thing that I could do better is just not be reflexive in posting a video and trying to digest, having a day or two gap and seeing what information comes from what sources, then do something there. I appreciate your updates, Josh, just Gen X, Biatch. I appreciate that. Thank you. Looking at the chat, we got a nice chat. Good afternoon, Josh. Harry Nutsack. Very cool. I still think you're a very nice gay man. Thank you. And I'm proud to be gay, and if I say I'm proud to be gay and that's how, as Reddit says, that's somehow homophobic, shout out to Ruskies in the war room. If you just want to, don't dox him, but if you see a guy that posted Reddit that's Ruskies in the war room, just comment negatively on every single thing he says. That's my directive. Just make him feel bad. He likes to make other people feel bad and say I'm transphobic. So don't dox him, but harass Ruski in the war room. Every single post he has, just remind him that he is nothing. And he's probably a college professor, I think, that got fired, because he's making deductions about me from one little instance. So I'm going to say that he's a college professor that obviously got fired, but he's responsible for, and I don't get mad at those people. It's interesting for people saying, oh, I said ZDT was closeted, that's somehow homophobic. I'm not even going to say that their criticism is illegitimate, because from people, there is a set of the hard left, and I'm progressive, but I'm not hard left, that's their barometer, right? And that's why Trump got reelected. Kamala lost because of people like Ruski in the war room, because of their insane, very, very hard left qualifications of what's transphobic and what's not, yada, yada. Anyway, so just harass that person. Don't do anything. I'm kidding. John Steele says the gods of Abraham breed nothing but pedos and, terrorists. I don't know who the God of Abraham is. He's not my God. My God's Jesus. You're gay? I'm not gay. But I joke about that, which apparently is homophobic somehow. If I call myself gay, that means I'm a homophobe. So riddle me that. But whatever. Keep talking shit, Reddit. I love you. Let's see, anybody else? Reddit is hot garbage. It is. And that guy is just this loser. He'll write like essays every moment, every hour. This guy is writing like 20 paragraphs. That's all he does. Is just write shit on Reddit the entire day. Like he writes more than ZDT streams, which speaks volumes. Not that I care about that person. I wish him well. Scientology protests has turned into a bunch of adults bullying each other online. I can't keep track. That's the thing with the who is Summer and why were they beefing? It's like and that's another criticism that I do understand that's legitimate is, obviously I'll mind some of this because it's entertaining and talk about it. And I'll mind some of the people fighting each other and being oppositional to each other just because it's kind of fun to make fun of, but I should be careful because I don't know all of the characters. You can't unless you're really consuming every little, like Reddit, they have no lives. Unless you're like Reddit and you're consuming every little bit of information, you can't possibly know what's going on. So perhaps the best thing is to shut up, but some of it is hilarious. So if anybody wants to tell me who Summer is, I'd be fascinated. Although I shouldn't trust you because some of the chat has given me incorrect info. Scientology protest has turned into, I read that. CC gives me an icon. Dr. Soda says, Jesus is the Son of God. I agree. He died on the cross for our sins and was resurrected 3 days later. True that. Believe in Jesus and you will not die. I think I'll still die, but have everlasting life. I'm sorry, I'm a Scientologist. Dodge, you're a journalist, but you do a great job of being gay. Hey, gay and fabulous. Callie Farr says, hey, brother, up north. Plan on heading up next week, a little farther by Hunter. What? I'm not up north now. I'll be heading up north relatively soon to cover a trial. Like way up, like the real upstate New York. Upstate New York does not begin in Dutchess County. Begins in Albany, but I'll be north of Albany, near just south of Plattsburgh in Elizabethtown to cover a trial. They hate on you because they can't be you. I appreciate that. You cannot reanimate dead flesh. I don't know what that means. Followed hot mess Summer says free to be me several years. She is active helping those in need in her community and deserves respect. Cool. I never gave any disrespect. Just that it was interesting. The nemesis non-journalist criticism of your journalist skill is like milkmen picking on proctologists. Word. Yeah. I mean, again, the qualifications you have of what a journalist is just not correct. Anybody who conveys information, frankly, whether it's correct or not, is still a journalist. It's not something you necessarily should be proud of necessarily, unless you're a good journalist. But it's very easy. The only thing that a journalist does is really, it could even be false information, but the only thing a journalist does is relay information. Pride should only be earned, not something you are born with. Word. When you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, says Kevin. That's it, because then, of course, you can believe anything. Do you believe in ghosts? I've always, no, because nobody could detail me, like, what the ghosts do all day, like, during the middle of the day. Like, do they go to the movies? Do they go to concerts? you know, nobody's for all these conversations of ghosts. You know, I've tried to watch some of the you know, the radio scanner thing, and you think they can be like, what's the meaning of life? Is there a heaven? What's the right religion? What really no, they just ask, are you afraid? Are you scared? Did you die? I don't care about that one person. If that's a ghost, they know all the answers. We haven't gotten all the answers. You're gay? No, you're a Latina lover. I'm not gay. Wish I were. It'd be easier. Sexual preferences is nobody's business. Well, no, Reddit was just saying I was homophobic because I said that ZDT was closeted. The guy was like, he constantly veers off into transphobia. And then when I confront him, he's like, oh, based on this one specific thing, which he finds incredibly transphobic, which of course it's not, because it's commenting on like Ted Haggard and like the most damaging people, kind of making fun of them. Are the people who are most violent against gay people are gay themselves, right? It's not a homophobic statement. It's that they don't want to accept their truth, and they'd be happier and accepted and would be better people if they came out as the true people that they were. They'd be more loved and they'd be a kinder person. It's you could say it's closet phobia, I guess, but it's not homophobia. Why are you telling it out loud that you are gay? Why are you making accent on it? It's just a topic of conversation. There's a direct conflict. If indeed God loves everybody at the Catholic Church, shuns gay people. That is a problem. I'm trans and I vote. Hey, there's a lot of trans people voted for Trump. You know, there's a fair amount. You can't, just because somebody is trans or gay or lesbian, you know, doesn't mean you can peg them on their politics. That's the interesting thing about traveling. You meet a lot of different people that defy stereotypes. What's the difference between a gay and a fridge? The fridge don't fart when the meat is put out. How does a fridge? I don't get that joke. Maggie equals pedo. I mean, there's a lot of problems with the Epstein stuff. I'm going to be in D.C. in October to cover the Bill Clinton testimony and the Hillary Clinton testifying in Congress. I think that would be interesting. So I'll be in D.C. for that. Boofing. Conservatives, all deceitful rats. Kamala lost because nobody wanted her worthless. I think Kamala lost because of people like the people on Reddit are very quick to attack well-meaning normal people who aren't ultra woke and ultra left-wing. And a lot of people have felt, a lot of people like that who are not transphobic or homophobic either didn't vote or they got so mad because they think they considered themselves to be a tolerant, accepting person who embraces different, you know, who embraces the LGBTQ community. And they make one joke and then all of a sudden they're these evil people. And a lot of people probably got fed up and voted for Trump because I don't know that the thing was Kamala wasn't that hard left like that. The problem is she didn't actively say, I'm not crazy like that. I'm actually relatively level-headed. But a lot of people like Kamala either. I would have preferred a different nominee by a mile. I was in New Hampshire. I tried to advocate for Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson as a better alternative. Who is your favorite UFC fighter? Oh, that's your channel name. And then he wrote something in Israeli. Okay. A virgin in mommy's car. This is my own car. I am a virgin, though. You have a super fan. Lol. Do I? Who? Reddit? Cool. Probably. MAGA would have voted for Epstein if he survived his assassination. Yeah. No, what? MAGA thing, you have to say there's some integrity on some of the people's part because a lot of them are speaking out. Like I worked for, I quit after 6 months because it was way too conservative for me. But I worked for Valuetainment. Patrick Beck David was very ostentatious, well-meaning guy, but very ostentatious. But you know, that was Valuetainment, which had about 4 million subscribers. But even they were the most hardcore Trump, and even they're trying to peel away and not really support him. So some of these people do have integrity, do have consistency, and there's a lot of people that are peeling off because they feel like, well, Trump went to the grand jury, and unsurprisingly, the grand jury didn't want to reveal anything, and ultimately it goes back to him. You can make excuse after excuse, but a segment of MAGA will always vote for Trump, but I don't think it's the biggest thing. Why are you doing commercials for gay shit? Because I'm gay. Hi, about 5 minutes behind the live stream. We're not talking about anything important, Amy. Nice to have you. Who is the best out of Trump, Obama, and Joe in terms of presidency? I'd say probably Obama out of the three would be my, you know, the economy got better under Obama. Although, you know, the wealth gap increased. A lot of this is, you know, people upset because of the wealth gap that started increasing under Bush or really under Clinton. And Obama was very pro-war. So was Trump. And Obama was very, Obama was almost as punitive as Trump on immigration, too. He deported maybe only 20% less people than Trump deported in his administration. It was interesting going down to Mexico. I went in about 2019, and you see some people got deported for Trump, but you'd meet a lot of people who speak English, and a lot of them were deported by Obama, which is interesting. He sounds like Sticker Chick. Sticker Chick's another controversial character. I pray that everyone who voted for Trump gets deported to El Salvador without due process. Well, that might be fair. Democrats didn't even want her. I didn't want her. I was a Democrat in some sense. I voted Libertarian, a registered Democrat, voted in the primaries. Just coming in, but do you do your best. Thank you, Neuropsych. In my opinion, wait to get information. No, we were talking about that earlier. I agree, right? So it's better to take a day or two. And the best that you could confirm, right, until it gets released in the court docket, the court files, which take about a month to happen. The best that you could confer is if two people from opposing sides are saying the same thing. And that might take a day or two to wait to kind of figure out if that's actually the situation. So I think I was sloppy at not waiting, certainly. The answer always lies in the middle. You are gay, Dodge. You generally seem happy. Gay is a term for happy, too. This is true. Kevin says, good things you don't live in Russia. They string up gay people by their Jesus. You're not wrong, Kevin. Glad I don't live in Russia. Yeah. If China had people as John Steele says, if China had people as brainwashed and willing to lick government boots as the Republicans, then the CCP would have to hide Tiananmen Square from their people. That's funny. Summer was victimized by DOA. I can't watch Boss Talks. I can't. So sorry. Give me an exact. I'm not gonna watch a 6-hour stream. That's why, I give credit to Saul for being a lot more efficient, although he went off the rails. Yeah. Pudijero says, "Don't bother, Dodge. It's all stupid shit." Everybody's famous for a moment or two, aren't they? It's never good to be victimized by anybody. I can't determine her veracity or lack of it. Because I'm just not sitting through a 6-hour stream. Good for him for getting 2,000 people to sit through that. Boss Talks could do Boss Talks. I'm not watching, really. Just not my cup of tea. Anybody who speaks for 6 hours is a lot. But respect if that's the way you want to do it. Nothing wrong with it. Harry Nutt says, Dodge, you were only gay cast member in Happy Days. Probably. I was a pioneer. Scientology, you got kicked off. Sure. Summer is a stripper. Cool. Involved. I heard something about the Breonna Taylor case. That's an interesting pedigree. Muslims worship the God of Abraham, just like Christians and Jews. Okay. Summer has been on Boss Talks detailing what DOA did. If you want to give me a time code, I'd love to see it. Or if Boss Talks wants to clip one of his stuff. I'm already wary of anybody who calls himself boss. Good Lord, stop with the slandering. I'm not slandering anybody. Who did I slander? What are you talking about? Literally nobody's been slandered. I was just saying his videos are very long, so I don't want to sit. That's not slander. I'm not saying he's bad at what he does. That I don't enjoy watching him when I figure out where the important point is that I want to listen to is. That's not slander. No dislike towards him. I pray that everyone who voted for Trump gets sent to CCOT without due process. Word. Come on, man. Yeah, there's not a lot of DOA people here in the chat today. It's a little kind of miss them all. Report all MAGA in your life. Some of them will get deported. It's hilarious. I bet. All humans deserve dignity and pride. I agree. Hey, Danny's in the chat. Big fan of him. Danny, I'm sorry you're going through guff by DOA for no reason. Yeah, who said that? Thanks, Beck. Beck, thank you. Beck sent me some clips of Crackhead Kenny being crazy and confirming what I knew to be the fact, where he details raping people in great detail. So thank you, Beck, for sending me that. But he says, you're not a journalist, you're working for Mike Flynn. Yeah, Mike Flynn probably pays good money. I'd sell my soul to work for Mike Flynn. I wouldn't actually, but I'm not. Yeah, who posted that on... It's funny, and this is all not that I'm anything close to a celebrity, But in the YouTube world, these are all like mini insignificant, like F- list celebrity worlds. And like apparently I'm celebrity enough to work for Mike Flynn, which is, I guess, a compliment. I do not work for Mike Flynn. And people think I'm conservative, which I'm very not conservative. But I reported my MAGA, but I'm not ultra hard left either. So to some, that makes me conservative, but I'm not. Hello from Detroit. Hey, we might visit Detroit with the dog. Summer is a victim of DOA. Well, if anybody wants to tell me what DOA did or point a video my way so I could figure out. If you want me to talk, I mean, that it's going to take me a week to talk about because I'm going to have to sift through 6-hour streams and stuff. If you want me to, some people like me kind of weighing in on the gossip TMZ type stuff of this world. But, you know, and the criticism I got is I'll just shoot from my mouth without knowing definitively, right? So it'll take me a week, but if you want me to analyze the summer stuff, I was entertained. I saw part of it of Saul screaming at her and she screaming back. It was interesting. Free to be me. Yes, you've been respectful. I meant the major disrespect. Yeah, Saul was, I mean, again, I don't know what the background is, but I don't think you should ever say fuck you, bitch, to, you know, anybody in person like that. I've said fuck you, bitch, to people being really mean on the stream. That's a joke, but I've never, like, said it in a conversation on a stream with someone else. But DOA has done that with Nora. Knox said, my name is Zach Baggins. I never believe in ghosts until I come face to face with one. I like that. Gingers don't have souls. I don't have a soul. Give me a super chat. Oh, hey! Thank you, Peter Anderson. Super chat. Are you in Connecticut? Link up. I'm going to go there. And Amy told me how to pronounce it properly. Groton. It's not Groton. Groton? Gritton? Groton? I'll be near New London on the 9th for Long Island Audit's case. And I'm trying to figure out, because I have to pick up my actual car in Buffalo. And I'm trying to figure out, do I drive, because I'll be flying back from Mindy's thing on the 31st. So do I drive, after I pick up my car from Buffalo, or near Buffalo, to Ashtabula. So I have to drive from Buffalo to Ashtabula. I can fly back and forth in and out of LA from Buffalo. Do I go to Boston first and then go to Long Island Audit? But then that's a tight time frame because I'll come in on the 31st in Buffalo, and I'll have to go from Ashtabula to Boston, and then it'll be the 5th because there's a sentencing for a councilwoman on the 5th in Boston, and then on the 9th, which I'll definitely go to, is Long Island Audit. Put a 1 if you want me to go to Boston to see the sentencing of a corrupt councilwoman named Tanya Fernandez Anderson. So put a 1 if... Oh, there's a lot of... I missed a lot in the chat. Wow. Well, I'll catch up with everything. Got 220 people watching. Not bad. I've met Mike Flynn Jr. Cool. Amy, you met everybody. Dodgy, love you. Thank you, Zero. Tart Coco. Dodgy, you get bank of your live stream DOA court. Well, you know, that's the thing. You cannot... That's an interesting statement. You know, people think that you can film inside the courtroom. You cannot. So I couldn't live stream any of that. Regrettably. Google employees donated nearly $40,000 to Mamdani's campaign. That's quite a bit. I'll be covering the mayoral election, certainly in October. I'll be covering the rallies of Curtis Lewa and Mamdani and Cuomo and Eric Adams. Let's see what else. Coco's your biggest fan. I'm honored. Log cabin syrup is good. All right, we got a 1. Cool. Troll, stop bothering Dodge. Leave him alone. Leave Brittany alone. He's a very nice gay man. In fact, he's extremely gay. I can't argue with that. Amy says log cabin restaurant. Although that's, if I say that, then Reddit is going to say I'm homophobic. That's okay. Maybe Reddit's homophobic. Log cabin restaurant is I think Reddit's homophobic. I think Reddit OT42 is homophobic. I'm just going to make that blanket statement. Amy says log cabin restaurant is a restaurant recommendation in Connecticut. Well, hey, I might be a log cabin Republican, so let's do it. I might not be. CC, so how come Danny has not... Thank you. I got to screenshot that, Amy. I've gone to a few of your restaurant recommendations, so thank you. Snotty has called and got so many suckers to make hate YouTube video on DOA's bad actors of the day. You can't keep track. And a few others that jumped on the gravy train. Thomas M.U. Anderson. Is this middle name Mueller? Mrs. V. Mrs. J. Toddy. Oh, okay. I get all your names. Toddy. I love Toddy One Skip. Yeah, I don't know how anybody could ever dislike anything that Audit LA is doing. And that's, one of the reasons that I've lost interest in this case is because I still feel that DOA's arrest is completely unjustified. And I think it sets the movement back if he is found guilty. The problem is, it's much easier to go to those court cases and stick it to Scientology in the public view if the defendant is likable, personable, seems kind, seems humble, seems level-headed. You need a good figurehead. You need a figurehead who knows how to behave in the best way possible to really make Scientology look bad. If you have a figurehead who is reflexively unlikable and reflexively antagonistic and reflexively mean to people, really for no reason, it makes the protest movement look psychotic. And he's not representative of the majority of protesters. I really do think the majority of protesters are level-headed, genuinely well-intentioned, intelligent, kind people. Unfortunately, the irony is those people don't get arrested, right? Aaron got arrested, DOA. What does that say? Isn't that interesting that the two arrests are the two most volatile, divisive people in the movement and the two most trigger-happy to confront somebody are the two people who got arrested, right? It's interesting. So it makes me less eager. Originally, I wanted to, because I was very much on DOA's side early on. And I want to say, listen, this guy is a victim. But you can't paint somebody as a victim if they're an asshole. I mean, you can, but it's not going to generate the same audience and the same sympathy against Scientology and the same sympathy towards protesters. It's like you got the wrong symbolic person. And I it's a weird comparison to make. But Rosa Parks, Montgomery bus boycott, 1955, she was actually the second person to do that. Back in, I believe, 1949, I forget her name, and she should be remembered. There was an African-American woman, I think also in Alabama, but I can't remember the city, who did the exact same thing. She refused to get up from the bus. It was a news story, but she hit the officer. I think she had every right to hit the officer. I would have hit the officer. But it didn't become bigger because the NAACP didn't promote it, because the quick retort from the white oppressors was that, oh, she was attacking, she was crazy, and therefore, because of this person going crazy on the bus, this is what all the civil rights, this is not true, but they would say this is what all the civil rights protesters are like, right? You have this one person who slapped this officer, this person's crazy, all of the civil rights protesters are like that. And because of that, the NAACP didn't put her instance in their media and their newsletters and their messages. Later on, it was very planned with Rosa Parks. She was part of the NAACP, and she knew exactly what to do. She knew when she had to sit, because it's tough. I would immediately slap the officer myself, but she knew when to sit, when not to, when to comply, when not to comply, how to react, what to say to news conference. Because of that, people watching saw this very likable old lady, sympathetic old lady, and they thought, wow, if this person who is standing up against this oppression, if she seems normal and likable and sympathetic, then maybe I'll support civil rights ultimately. But and the comparison is made, but with DOA, the person is not sympathetic, then you don't get more people supporting the movement. With Danny, I find Danny to be a likable and sympathetic character. So that trial was very cut and dry. Streets is very extreme and perhaps occasionally unprofessional in his language, but he has integrity and he's a decent person. And so he's a good symbol of one of the good people that Scientology was trying to stop, or even because he was an inspirational, sympathetic character. But until there's a trial, it also doesn't help get eyeballs or get additional supporters of the protest movement, quite frankly. See, because he's not nothing to do with anybody being fat. He can be as fat as he needs to be. I have no issue with anybody being fat. Far from it. Dodge gets more ass than a public toilet. Thank you. Occasionally I'll do well. Reddit accused me of being a sex tourist, of which I was not. That was offensive too. Sex tourists go to Thailand, or the sex tourists don't go to Mexico. I singularly dated people. It's just people liked me there. That's not sex tourism. I truly think Dodge is a good-looking guy. Thank you to all you jealous boys. I appreciate that. Kudos to Dodge for being extremely proud, gay, redheaded. Hey, yeah, redheaded. I like it. You are the voice of reason. Thank you, old man on the hill. In this tire process fiasco, ain't that the truth? What restaurants do you go to, Dodge, that I recommended? Didn't you recommend? I can't remember. I can't remember, Amy. Tell me. Somewhere in Pennsylvania. I'll look it up. You did recommend something I actually ate at, and it was good. And I took a picture, but I might not have posted it. Neuropsych says the problem is that both are playing dirty. It's difficult to feel sorry for either in court. That's well put. Yeah, that's true. The Nemesis says the issue, what I think, is that you are looking for a movement face like that. There seems to be no organized movement now. So what are the people a face of? That's a good point. Where is there anybody to be a face of anything? Not a shot at anybody, but people fighting. Yeah, I mean, there's less of a cohesiveness, then that's inevitable. And divisions divide people in every single industry. It's not special in Scientology. What you realize is that adults are never different than sandbox school kids. They never truly grow up. And it's any industry of any note, if you call this an industry. But TV news was the same. They hated the other person and would subtly try to attack the person on the opposing TV news side and tell them incorrect information and make a post if they say they got something wrong, and they're trying to screw them. Politics is all about that, right? Politics is you lose friendships. So I'm used to this. You lose friendships because you went to a fundraiser of a candidate you liked, but that candidate was running against the endorsed candidate that your close political friend likes, and therefore your close political friend hates you because you went to the fundraiser of the person who is running against that person's mentor. And it's like you could do no right? And so it's shit. I've gone through breakups of candidates I've worked with because they didn't like that I said something nice about another candidate. So none of this is unique. We're all, what I've realized about being in 3 different industries, which is politics, news, journalism, I suppose, and this weird thing, is that nobody's mature and nobody grows up, and we're all a lot less adults are all a lot less impressive and level-headed and adult than we really think. And that's, just because you have an education and you've worked hard doesn't mean you don't still act like a petty little 5-year-old. And even in local politics and TV news, the majority of people act like petty 5-year-olds, which is another reason why I want to work by myself, or for myself, if I could ever rub 2 dimes together, is because you're just dealing with all this sandbox bullshit politics. And it's so much beyond just doing the work that you feel like is effective. It's who can you placate successfully to keep them at bay. And that there's no, that's career land in any career, right? People are generally people are wonderful in small doses, and then you get to know them, and that's where the problem lies. So I like keeping people, being friends with them, but keeping them at an arm's length. Let's see. Scott Hocksetter came in and divided, says I see, and told people to pick sides. Right, I mean, DOA was pressuring people who didn't even say anything. Audit LA never said anything. Why are you pressuring Audit LA? She's been above all of this because she's one of the few people that is mature. She's above all of this. So it's like you're literally attacking probably the most effective person in the movement, quite frankly. And that's another reason why I'm really not jet set on hopping on a jet to cover this. It's just disgusting. You have every single right to get mad at anybody who criticizes you, but she hasn't criticized him once, not a single time. So for him to be upset about her just because she was silent, I'm sorry, are you a little baby? Like nobody's expected to come to your defense just because you're some fucking guy. Who gives a shit? So that really pissed me. I don't like it when he attacks my friends and for the diamonds in the rough who are genuinely good people. Danny is another example who has always been my friend and who is filled with integrity, in my opinion. And it all started when I think he was attacking Danny for absolutely no reason. So, you know, you could count on one hand, I could count on one hand the protesters I think are genuinely pure of heart, but she is certainly one of them. Dodge is a victim? I've never said I was a victim. That is a sound approach. Thank you, Kiki. Nice to have you. IC says, no, Streets LA started the TikTok movement and Aaron started the YouTube movement and helped others with no strings. I mean, Aaron is very helpful early on, right? You gotta respect him for that. Scott is gayer than Dodge. He might, which is okay. No, Streets LA started the, let's see what else we're talking about. Sounds approach. Streets LA, yeah, I mean, look, if you want to talk about pure tangible numbers, it's been Aaron, to his credit, but it's really been Streets LA as of late. I mean, DOA hasn't gotten 5% of the subscribers or the amount of views that Streets LA has garnered. So you want to look at who is really... The whole point now is to just get as many eyeballs as possible, because everything else is up to the law, right? It's up to the prosecuting attorneys in, whether it be Clearwater, Los Angeles, or perhaps New York. Leah Remini has her lawsuit that is probably going to get tabled, but that's happening, and I want to cover that. But beyond that, you can't truly take down Scientology. Scientology is essentially taken down. I mean, they're shadow of themselves of what they were 20 years ago even, right? I mean, they've lost probably in the last 30 years, off the top of my head, they've lost about 60% of their members. So they're essentially dead, but of course because of the celebrity connections, they have a great amount of interest, and they create a great amount of damage as well. And there's a lot of people that need justice. But, you know, they're already dead in a lot of ways, so what more do you really do? Streets lost me, says the Nemesis, when he called his followers Walmart greeters. Huh. He said he didn't care about Scientology, then went right back to protesting it. He did say that a few times. He's protested against it effectively. Thank you for the one person. I don't know who sent the super chat, but thank you. I'm almost at $100 if anybody wants to send me a super chat. DOA's minions say they were going to do an ADA protest in his next court date and go in wheelchairs to make fun of... No. Well, I haven't heard that, Ness, so I cannot confirm that. But if I'm not confirming that. I haven't heard anything like that. I'd be surprised if that were true. If that were true, then that's... if that's true and DOA endorses it, then watch me become DOA's greatest enemy. And watch me actively submit things to get him back in jail. I somehow don't think that's true, though. They said it. All right, well, if minions say it, that wouldn't be DOA himself, right? But you lie for Kenny. I certainly don't. I talk shit about him all the time. You see talking about somebody else. You lie for Kenny. Who are his mods? I'm going to change my name since they inserted themselves into public sphere. You certainly can't believe trolls telling you what's happened. That's right. I'm not believing. I'm not saying that's true. Not true. Good grief. I didn't think that was true. You want to walk? Do you want to finally go for a walk? What do you think about DOA? What do you think about the movement? Dude. Are you pro or anti-D? Dude. Are you Aaron or DOA? Dude, you have to decide. You want to go for a walk? You have to decide. You can't don't just yawn at me. That's not a real answer. It's not. It's not a real answer. You're lying to me. You're a bad journalist. Do you know that all of my failings in journalism is your fault, dude? Yeah, it's your fault. All of it. You want to walk? Let's go see if he wants to walk. You want to walk? You want to go for a walk? No? All right. You want to go for a walk? No? Guess he doesn't want to go for a walk. I'm out here covering real things, Dodge. Can't stand the vitriol. Respect, Oregon Valley girl. Respect. Dodge is the worst journalist. Thank you so much. How cute. I'm the only one here. I'm the only one. If it ain't me, it ain't nobody else. You're stuck with me, kid. The dog gives no shits about the DOA. He does not. Scott will only be the receiver in prison because he was... All right. I'm going to skip over that comment. Oh, whoops. What are we talking about? I got to go soon. This is fun. This has been a really nice, relaxed chat today. Jenna's not posting, thinks something's up. She posted on my YouTube saying how I'm just a trust fund kid. Oh yeah, because she criticized me because I was criticizing Aaron for raising money, and then she called me like a trust fund kid, and I'm like, girl, I know my trust fund is 5% of the yearly income Aaron gets from his YouTube, if that. And I don't go up to people and do things like, I don't think Aaron should have gotten arrested, but he did something where he knew he could get arrested. I don't go up when I protest. I don't go to things to do things that might get me arrested. Now, it's unfair that he got arrested, but he knew there was some expectation of arrest, right? So, you know, you can start from that. That's all I'm saying is, bro, it looks great if you beat the government, if you beat Scientology, it looks good. And you get, like, even in the Reddit cult news, in the Reddit cults, which has many more members than any of the Scientology stuff, they mention his arrest. But then you look like a grifter if a moment later you beg your audience to give you money that you yourself have plenty of. To me, raising money should be in, like Melody, I hope she got her food. To me, raising money should be like an emergency situation only. Like, I tangibly don't have this money, or if you'd like to give me money, it's not a big deal. This would help because I put in my money already. But never, you should, or this is urgent, this needs to happen immediately. No. And for people saying I'm always asking for money, I'm never, not in the way that other people do. I just simply say, if I fly out somewhere, if you want to help with the $600 that I put in to cover this case for you, if you want to help offset the $600 to $700, a donation is appreciated. Not that I won't do this if I don't get any more donations or anything like that, but just that it's appreciated. So, Jesus, it's really pouring. I'm getting like sprayed. Melody needs some teeth. Let's get Melody some food. Go fund me Melanie food. Let's get Melody. Can we get Melody like a meal at the Palm? Is she still in LA? Guys, give me money so we could take Melody to the Palm Steakhouse. Please. If not, we'll have Karen and Chet take her to Olive Garden. The line between amateur and pro journalists is blurry. Fair. Unlike the line between amateur and pro gynecologists. It's very true. Those lines are not equitable. How do you know how much Aaron makes? He's got sub numbers, not engagement. I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, I know he probably makes, I've heard it, but I know he'll probably make, if he has 5 videos that are 100,000 or 20 videos that are 25,000, he'll make about, at least at the very bare minimum, 5,000 a month. That's minus super chats. It's minus anything else. 5,000, if you save it, would have been enough to hire a retainer. What you do, Dodge, isn't bad. CDT grifting while glomming onto others onto Texas flood. Is he doing that? That is gross. That's very gross. Yeah, what you do, Dodge, isn't bad. ZDT grifting while glomming onto Texas floods is inhumane. Word. Well, if he's doing that shit, that's not okay. Aaron didn't beg. And Dodge, how do you know Aaron's damn gross and what he pays out monthly? It's not good to speculate. Aaron had his YouTube channel for a long time and works hard. He did. And I appreciate the effort he's put in. But I think if you really care about the movement, you'd have he did as he did in the past and direct other people to support, people who really need it. But I mean, respect. Do what. It's not like a cardinal sin. Do what you want to do. I'm not saying it's the most evil thing in the world. I'm glad he didn't raise that much money though. Hellgear, aka Sidious Dodge, huh? Cool. Oh, Hellgear, aka Sidious. Hey, Hellgear. Dodge, what does a charge of physical outside a restaurant have to do with anti-Scientology movement? I can see how other cases might relate. What does a physical charge... Who had the physical... You're talking about DOA? I mean, that's a fair question, too, because that's a very fair question. Because I think the more you examine it, the more you realize that Scientology is the one that wants to prosecute DOA for what happened outside a restaurant. You're right, Dodge. Don't listen to Peanut Gallery. I ain't. Thank you, Melissa. Dodge, there's a movie about a redheaded gay man with a dog. This is Harry Nutsass speaking. This is not me speaking. Reddit, who thinks he was a journalist. It would be called Dodge's Life. I like that. SBT Foundation has helped too. I mean, I'm gonna give actually tangible credit to the SBTV. In all fairness, SBTV Foundation definitely helped Steve Mango's friends, and I think they helped somebody else. So there's two well-known people that they actually have helped people. So I'm not going to say that just because Aaron's an asshole for raising money, I'm not going to say that the foundation is a fraud or it's shitty. I mean, I think if you look at things objectively, the Aftermath and the SBTV Foundation have helped people, both of them. People don't want to say that because, again, it's one or the other, hey? Shout out to Reddit for including Mark Headley as a bad actor. I'm not going to forget that. Even though they deleted it. That's still what they thought. Reddit called the Headleys they called them negative actors. So just remember what Reddit said about the Headleys. I'm never going to forget about it. And you should probably report their comment. If you guys just want to report every Reddit comment, that would be great. I should, they talk shit about... No, I don't care. They can talk as much shit about me as I want. I was just saying I should just direct them to report every single user's comments all the time. But, when they're gone, we miss them. Because they make me feel... They might say mean things about me, but ultimately, they make me feel important, and I'm a loser. So, I need their validation, and I appreciate them. I love them. Shout out to... Blue Ridge Mountain person. Blue Ridge Speaks. Love the Blue Ridge Mountains. Like much of YouTube, many don't care about what content they use. That's the problem. Very fair point. Zero Dark Coco. Gotta love that name. Your dog speaks Spanish. Hola. Not anymore, even though he's a Mexican dog. Don't pet him, though. Sleepy doggy, you're not a loser. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind. He agrees. Get more of that beautiful face in there. He's going to get mad at me, though, because I feel a tick, and I got to pick it off. You'd be there all day. Word. Dodge, if you were broke and being attacked, people with money would help you, too, no matter your family situation. That's a fair argument, too, right? If you feel like you have a cadre of people who love you and support you, do you have a right to ask them? Maybe you do. That's a fair argument. Dog is so cute. Thank you, Naomi. But the thing is, you didn't need to. And the thing is, I wouldn't have asked, even if I didn't have a wealthy family, maybe I'd ask for, I have in the past, I'd ask for $100 to get gas or something. But other than that, I wouldn't ask for thousands and thousands and thousands. How come he never names him? His name is technically named, but he doesn't answer to any name. He does all random sounds like click, 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 click. And he thinks that's his name. Click, 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 click. Dodge, I have two questions. One, were you a cheerleader in high school? Far from it. Two, how old were you when you found out you were gay? I was this age. Scott is testing the waters, says Pippi. Word. I mean, leave soon. Speak now or forever hath hold your peace. Aaron wasn't trying to raise much money. Why do you think he closed? No, I mean, Aaron, to his credit, did close it after a while, and he got somebody cheaper, so respect for that. Dodge, don't explain your financial business. Fair argument. Ginger, that I am. Dodge, you don't want to get a proper job? No, this is a hell of a lot more fun. Do I want to sit under a fluorescent light all day, get yelled at by a boss, be in constant stress, lose my hair, get 5 hours of sleep, keep the dog in somebody's house lying around 9 hours a day, and then by the time I pick him up, I'm really tired and pissed off, but he needs to walk for 3 hours because he hasn't been able to walk and go to the same place. And then you want to go hiking, and then, oh, you can't go hiking because you get out of work when the sun goes down. So fuck no, I don't want another job. No, I mean, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. The fact that right now I can make, like, right now on YouTube, I'm making what you would make minimum wage in like the state of Arkansas or something. Oh, by the way, somebody mentioned Arkansas, and Spencer, you mentioned that before, and I'm going. That's why I mentioned Arkansas, so thank you. Like, I'm making minimum wage they make in Arkansas, so I wouldn't have to, like, for a basic job like that. And that, the irony is, journalism jobs would pay the same as a minimum wage. Like, journalism, TV news jobs, at least starting out, would pay the same wage that they would pay you at McDonald's in Arkansas. So I'm making a similar wage to what I made in Wyoming, which is very little. It was $18,000 a year. It's not much money at all. But why would I get it? If I got a new job just to make that? Why? If somebody would pay me $300,000 a year, I'd maybe accept something. But, you know, seriously, shit, what am I doing with my life? Yeah, right? So why people don't want to have kids today. It's hard to work all day and go home to a baby. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have kids. I mean, I might be a great step-parent one day. Or adopt a kid when I'm 60, but not anytime soon. Wow, minimum wage in California, many places are like 21. Well, yeah, you know, and that's another thing I was saying about, like, it's expense, right? So it's nice to live at my mom's for a while. She's not even here, so I have an empty house. But... you know, it's really hard to pay for motels in California because they're very expensive. And the cost of living in LA is super expensive, which is why I'm happy I'm doing these some murder trials in cheaper places. Aaron Spencer, Little Rock, I could hang out in Little Rock in comfort. The dog would love Little Rock. In January, Little Rock sounds great. So it's like, part of this is a strategy of going to where is affordable. Like, I'm going to go up to Upper New York to cover Luciano Fradolin, who murdered his 9-year-old daughter. So that should be interesting. And then from there, I'm going to cover the sentencing, probably, of Councilwoman Tanya Fernandez in Boston. And then I'll go to Connecticut and do Long Island audit as well. So, Chick-fil-A, right. Like, look, listen, with YouTube, I still make less than what a Chick-fil-A employee makes in California. Much less. Chick-fil-A, you know, people say don't talk about your finances, but some of you guys are interested, and it's you know, some of you guys learn things, and I tell you the actual financial results of things. You know, how much money does somebody really with 10,000 make? Based on ads by themselves, I'll make $600 a month, $500 to $600 a month. But with super chats, and then I'm counting donations, that's when I would make 17 to 18,000 a year. Not much, but you'll inherit. Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? It sounds like you'll inherit money eventually. God forbid, and this is, you know, not that appropriate to talk about, but God forbid may my parents pass in 30 years, and I hope they pass in 30 or 40 years, and I hope my mom passes when she is 130 years old, 120 years, well, in 30 years, she'd be 105. So that's realistic. I hope to have my mom around for another 30 years. My dad is 78. I hope to have, it's entirely possible I could have my dad living until he's 110. Especially the people who are living longer and longer. So God forbid may it be in 30 years. But yes, eventually I'll inherit like so much. So there's no point in working to like make money in a career. Because by the time I would get there, then I would inherit a lot of money. Fair amount. Not paying rent more, right. That's why I'm able to travel, because I'm not paying rent on a specific place. If I paid rent on a specific place, then I'd be tethered to that place. So I always thought about paying rent in California. But then paying rent in California would be as much as paying for a motel for an entire, you know, that would be $2,500, $3,000, probably. So that would be, you know, that would be as much as renting a motel for the entire month in a different state, right? So there's no point, and especially if I go to my mom's house and not pay rent, and then my uncle lets me use his place in Denver, which is also helpful. So it's like, you know, I'll be chilling at my mom's house, and my uncle has an empty place too at my uncle's house. I don't know how anybody would want to bring a child in this fucked up world the way it is. Very disturbing. I agree with that, I see. That's another reason. I mean, that's another thing, because the subsequent generations are unilaterally less well off than their parents. Now, some of it is, is having so much comfort. It's like you don't know what to do with yourself, but some of it's not. Props, Dodge, for letting this ish chat roll off your back. Word, haters always gonna hate. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's very kind. Gen X, biatch. Dodge, you don't all need to be all nosy about what you make. Yeah, and nobody's been that nosy, really. But some people are interested in it, and I'm pretty open, so I'll talk about things. Reddit will punish me for being open, but that's okay. But then I'll be famous, and then I feel legitimate. Dodge, who has more Mexican kids, name or Dodge? Well, my dog had an STD. He had, when I picked him up, he was dripping blood from his penis. And finally, when he got diagnosed for cancer, the vet said that he had a cancer STD. So I'm going to say the dog. I see says, but Dodge, people don't need to be all nosy about your word. How much does YouTube take? YouTube takes 30% of Super Chat. So it would be a lot more. So that's why, guys, if you ever want to donate, not that I need it right now, but if you ever want to donate, I appreciate the Super Chats. I'll take whatever I can get. But I appreciate I get the money more directly if you do GoFundMe, buy me a coffee. Buy me coffee takes about a week. But GoFundMe, Venmo, Cash App, and they take maybe 1 or 2%. But yes, YouTube takes 30%, which is quite a bit. Yeah, 30. Yeah, it's 30%. So I'd be a lot doing better if they didn't take that percentage, eh? All right, guys. Birth rates are definitely dropping in America. We aren't sustainable to maintain population growth. And that's okay. And the other thing is people think it's always important to grow your population. No, the less people, the more resources. Eventually the human race will die out, and that's okay. And dogs will take over. My whole theory is dogs are slowly evolving to be the next human-like form in a lot of capacities. They're becoming more intelligent. They're becoming living in more comfort. They're obtaining their rights. My theory is that humans will all die out because they just won't want to procreate and have kids. And then the dogs will eventually learn how to talk and build things, and it's going to take 100 or 200 years, but in 200 years the dogs will they'll be able to grunt and build, and then like 300 years they could have full conversations. And I think it's the next phase of Darwin, survival of the fittest. And so I think eventually the dogs will rule all. That's just my theory. They're going to have to learn to walk. The dogs will learn how to walk, but they will. Josiah here. Hey, Josiah. No dislike towards Josiah. Todd, you're a genius. Thank you, Pippi Lockstocking. No, that's my serious theory about dogs and cats. Dogs and cats there's going to be a war. Maybe. There's not going to be a war. They're going to segregate themselves. So there's going to be dogs will live in North America and cats will live in Asia. And they'll have cat boats, and there's going to be a day where there's going to be a cat evacuation day. It'll be like evacuating from Vietnam, and there'll be helicopters operated by cats. They might get the larger cats like bobcats or something, and they'll operate the helicopters, and they'll have all the cats escape, and then they'll go to the lands where the dogs cannot kill the cats, and it'll be just cats and dogs. And the other animals, and they're going to have to figure out how to deal with the other animals. Thank you for sharing your opinion. You're welcome. All right, guys, I got to go. Love you. It's crazy expensive in New York, too. Yes, it is. Until Mamdani wins, it'll be it'll be a quick flight out of there. That's why I hope Mamdani wins, so I can afford shit. It's worth extra homeless people. Your lack of intelligence is showing you deserve to be ignored. Sack, you're talking about Sack. Cool. Dodge, your swimmers are too old. Don't take a chance. That's true. All right, bye, guys. Love you all.